The 2010 NFL Draft. It was a night filled with big expectations, unforgettable moments, and future superstars. Fast forward more than a decade, and it's time to ask, did these top 10 picks live up to the hype, or did they just fall flat? But before I continue, don't forget to subscribe, like the video, and turn on notifications for our channel, as this really helps us grow. All done? Let's get into it. Let's start off with the 10th pick of the 2010 draft, a guy that surprised almost everyone on draft night, Tyson Alualu. The Jacksonville Jaguars shocked the league when they picked Alualu, a defensive tackle from California, much higher than expected. I thought it'd go in the late first round, maybe even the second, but Jacksonville had a vision, believing Alualu could bolster their defensive line immediately. In his rookie year, he showed flashes of promise, starting every game for the Jags and earning a spot on the all-rookie team. He had a high motor, was versatile enough to switch between defensive end and tackle, and was particularly good at plugging running lanes. But despite being a solid player, he never quite became the game changer they hoped for. He was reliable, but lacked the pass rushing power that top defensive tackles often bring to the table. After a few years of starting, Alualu gradually slid down the depth chart and eventually took on a backup role. When his contract expired, he moved on to Pittsburgh in 2017, looking for a fresh start. With the Steelers, he found a new role as a reliable rotational player on a defense that's been among the best in the league. Interestingly, he turned down an offer to return to Jacksonville in 2021, opting to stay in Pittsburgh, where he felt comfortable and valued. While not a household name, Alualu has had a respectable career, and over a decade later, is still going strong. Number 9 is C.J. Spiller, the electrifying running back out of Clemson who was picked by the Buffalo Bills. Spiller was a highlight machine in college, known for his speed and agility, and the Bills hoped he could bring the same energy to the NFL. He had a breakout season in 2012, rushing for over 1,200 yards and averaging 6 yards per carry. However, in the NFL, Spiller struggled with injuries and inconsistent play, and after bouncing around teams like the Saints, Seahawks, and Chiefs, he was out of the league by 2017. In 2020, he returned to his alma mater, Clemson, as a coach, using his experience to help guide the next generation of running backs. Who would have guessed, right? Moving on to the 8th pick, Rolando McClain was a linebacker out of Alabama who was considered a sure thing. He was a star in college, anchoring the Crimson Tide's defense and helping them win a national championship. Known for his physicality, leadership, and football IQ, McClain was supposed to be a cornerstone for the Raiders' defense, bringing a sense of stability to a team that desperately needed it. Early in his career, it looked to me like they had made the right choice. McClain had an impressive rookie season, finishing with 85 tackles, but poor work ethic and multiple suspensions began to overshadow his performance on the field. By his 3rd season, he was barely making an impact, and the Raiders decided to cut ties. His disagreements with coaches and lack of discipline ultimately contributed to his downfall. However, he signed a short-term deal with the Baltimore Ravens, but suddenly retired before even playing a snap, citing personal reasons. A year later, he came out of retirement and joined the Dallas Cowboys. For a brief period, he seemed to have turned things around. He played decently for a couple of seasons, even filling in admirably when Sean Lee went down with an injury. However, his career was marred by continued suspensions for violating the league's substance abuse policy. Ultimately, he never managed to stay out of trouble and was indefinitely suspended in 2016. I think McClain's career is a classic case of wasted potential. A player with all the tools to succeed, but none of the discipline to sustain it. Joe Haden, the 7th pick from Florida, was considered one of the best cornerback prospects in the draft. With his speed, agility, and playmaking ability, Haden was expected to become a shutdown corner in the NFL. He started off his career with a bang, picking off 6 passes in his rookie season and quickly establishing himself as one of the top corners in the league. Despite some inconsistent seasons with the Browns, Haden managed to earn 2 Pro Bowl selections during his time in Cleveland. In 2017, after failing to agree to a pay cut, the Browns released him, which was totally unfair. But it didn't take long for him to find a new home. He signed with the Steelers and immediately became an integral part of their defense, helping to stabilize a secondary that had struggled in recent years. Hayden even earned another Pro Bowl nod in 2019, showing that he still had plenty left in the tank. Over the past few seasons, he continued to be a reliable presence, regularly matching up against some of the league's top receivers. Despite dealing with injuries in 2021, he remains an important veteran leader on the Steelers' defense, and I hope we keep seeing him on the field. Now let's talk about Russell Okung, the 6th pick in the draft. Coming out of Oklahoma State, Okung was seen as the most polished offensive tackle in the draft, and the Seattle Seahawks wasted no time grabbing him. Okung quickly became a vital part of the Seahawks' offensive line, protecting young quarterbacks like Russell Wilson and playing a key role in their offensive scheme. In 2013, he was instrumental in Seattle's Super Bowl winning team, helping to pave the way for Marshawn Lynch's dominant rushing attack and giving Wilson time to work his magic. After 6 seasons in Seattle, Okung moved on to the Denver Broncos, then signed with the Los Angeles Chargers. He continued to be a reliable left tackle, earning a Pro Bowl selection along the way. Known for his durability and technical skill, Okung has always been a steady presence, even if he's never been the most flashy player. In 2020, he was traded to the Carolina Panthers, and despite battling injuries, he remained a solid veteran presence. The coolest thing about him, in my opinion, he negotiates his own contracts without an agent, and even opted to receive a portion of his salary in Bitcoin, making him one of the first professional athletes to do so. Next, we have Eric Berry, the 5th pick, a safety from Tennessee who was known for his incredible instincts, tackling ability, and leadership. Berry wasted no time making an impact, earning Pro Bowl honors in his rookie season and becoming one of the best safeties in the league. He quickly became the heart and soul of Kansas City's defense, known for his hard-hitting style and clutch plays. But Berry's story took a tragic turn in 2014 when he was diagnosed with cancer. It was a devastating blow, but Berry was determined to fight. After months of grueling treatment, he beat cancer and returned to the field in 2015, earning Comeback Player of the Year honors. Over the next few seasons, he continued to be a standout player, earning 5 Pro Bowl selections in total. I find his 2016 season particularly special, as he not only played at an all-pro level, but also delivered several game-changing plays, including a pick 6 against the Falcons that sealed a Chiefs victory. After suffering a torn Achilles in the 2017 season opener, Berry managed to play only a handful of games over the next 2 seasons. In 2019, he was released by the Chiefs and hasn't played since, but I just wish we had more players like him. The 4th overall pick was my favorite, Trent Williams. Drafted by Washington, Williams was seen as one of the most dominant offensive tackles to come out of college in years. His time at Oklahoma had shown scouts that he had the skill, size, and mentality to be a cornerstone on the offensive line, and he didn't disappoint. During his time in Washington, he established himself as one of the league's premier left tackles, earning 7 straight Pro Bowl selections from 2012 to 2018. However, Williams' time in DC wasn't without drama. In 2019, he had a public feud with the team's medical staff over a misdiagnosed growth on his head, which turned out to be a rare form of cancer. The situation was mishandled for years, and when Williams learned the truth, he felt betrayed by the organization. Williams had surgery and set out the entire 2019 season, refusing to play for the team that, in his view, had failed him. Even though I like the guy, I think these accusations were a little over the top. At the end of the day, those are not real doctors on the team. Eventually, he was traded to the San Francisco 49ers, where he returned to his all-pro form. In San Francisco, he quickly became a key part of their offensive line, helping stabilize a unit that had dealt with its own injury issues. Since then, he's been one of the anchors on the Niners' offensive line, continuing to play at an elite level. He even signed a 6-year, $138 million contract extension in 2021, making him the highest-paid offensive lineman in NFL history at the time. Next up, we have the 3rd overall pick, Gerald McCoy. Coming out of Oklahoma, McCoy was seen as a can't-miss prospect at defensive tackle. The Buccaneers were thrilled to have him, and he delivered on that potential. Over his 9 seasons with Tampa Bay, he became the face of the team's defense, earning 6 Pro Bowl selections and 3 first-team All-Pro nods. I think it's his ability to penetrate the line of scrimmage and pressure the quarterback that made him one of the top defensive tackles. But by 2019, the Bucs decided to move on, releasing him to make way for a younger talent like Vita Vea and Ndamukong Suh. McCoy signed with the Carolina Panthers and played well in his lone season there, appearing in all 16 games and tallying 5 sacks, proving that he still had something left in the tank. Unfortunately, his next stint with the Dallas Cowboys was short-lived, as he suffered a season-ending quadricep injury in training camp. Now a free agent, McCoy's been working on a comeback, hoping to get another shot before calling it a career. But something tells me it's not gonna happen. Now, for one of the most polarizing figures in the NFL, in my opinion, Ndamukong Suh. Taken second overall by the Lions, Suh made a name for himself as a dominant yet controversial defensive tackle. He was an absolute force on the line, winning Defensive Rookie of the Year and earning multiple All-Pro and Pro Bowl selections. He played 5 seasons in Detroit, becoming one of the league's most feared defenders, but also one of its most fined, racking up more than $400,000 in penalties over his career. After the Lions chose not to re-sign him, he signed a massive contract with the Miami Dolphins, making him the highest paid defensive player at the time. However, while he was effective, he didn't quite live up to the mammoth deal. After stints with the Rams and Buccaneers, Suh is still active, now playing a crucial role in Tampa Bay's defensive line. He helped them win the Super Bowl in 2021, showing that even in his 30s, he can still be a disruptive force. Love him or hate him, you can't deny Suh's talent, and I think we're gonna see him on the field for a while longer. Now let's talk about the top pick of the 2010 draft, Sam Bradford. The Rams took a gamble, giving Bradford the largest rookie contract ever seen at the time, a 6-year, $78 million deal. He was the Heisman winner out of Oklahoma, and even though he'd missed most of his junior year with a shoulder injury, scouts believed he was the best quarterback prospect available. Bradford started off strong, winning Offensive Rookie of the Year, throwing for over 3,500 yards and breaking the record for most completed passes by a rookie. But his career soon became defined by injuries. Over the next few seasons, he tore his ACL twice, and the Rams eventually decided it was time to move on. He was traded to the Philadelphia Eagles, where he had a solid but unspectacular, in my opinion, year. After the Eagles drafted Carson Wentz, Bradford was shipped off to Minnesota. There, he had his best statistical season in 2016, setting a record for the highest single-season completion percentage at the time, with 71.6%. I find this impressive considering the Vikings' offensive line was decimated by injuries. But once again, injuries caught up with him, and by 2018, he was in Arizona, where he played a handful of games before being benched in favor of rookie Josh Rosen. As far as I know, Sam Bradford retired from professional football and disappeared from public view. It wasn't a total vanishing, as he pops up about once a year or so at a Sooner football event, but for the most part, Bradford has gone dark. Any idea what he's doing in his free time? The draft is always a gamble, and as we've seen, it's never just about where you start, but how you finish. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, drop a like, share, and don't forget to subscribe. Catch you in the next one.